Many people in Shetland are aware that there's something wrong here. What most do not realise is the size of the deception that has been perpetrated on Shetland by the British government. I've been researching Shetland's legal and constitutional position for the past 5 years, and it's now time for me to put my money where my mouth is, in an attempt to expose this fraud and to put it right. I've recently become the owner of what is currently known as Forwick Hom, a tiny island off Papastua, which itself, for the benefit of non-Shetlanders, is a small island off the west coast of Shetland. I'm returning to the Nordic tradition by renaming it Forwick Island, Island of the Bay of Sheep. On the 21st of June 2008, Forwick will revert to Shetland's true constitutional position, that of a Crown dependency. Other Crown dependencies include the Isle of Man and the Channel Islands. Forwick recognises neither the British government nor the European Union as its superior. Because of Shetland's unique history, there can have been no legal basis for Shetland to have been involved with either. It recognises Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II as head of state. For those who do not know, in the 15th century, Shetland was part of Norway. The Norwegian King Christian's daughter was to marry King James III of Scotland, and James was to receive a substantial dowry of 8,000 florins. At the appointed time, Christian was unable to come up with the money, so he pawned Shetland to James until he or his successors could come up with the cash. James was only holding Shetland in trust until the money was forthcoming, and consequently had very limited rights. Although the money was offered on many occasions, James and his successors always managed to avoid the issue and hang on to Shetland by various subterfuges. 200 years later, in 1667, the plenipotentiaries of Europe confirmed that the pawning document was still valid in full force, and that therefore the Scottish Crown could not claim the ownership necessary to incorporate Shetland into the realm. Shetland remained the personal responsibility of the Crown, but with very limited rights. A further 2 years later, in a remarkable and little reference Act of Parliament, Charles II reconfirmed Shetland's status at the time of the pawning. He made Shetland, quote, directly dependent upon His Majesty, unquote, made it a stewardship directly answerable to the Crown, and made it impossible for Parliament to change that position. Nothing has changed since to change that situation, and the pawning document is recognised as the basis of Shetland's constitutional relationship with the UK. Those in power would like us to believe that Shetland somehow became part of Scotland, although nobody can provide a date when it happened. They would like us to believe that Shetland is part of the EU, even though Shetland voted to come out and there was no legal basis for it to be in anyway. They would like us to believe that the UK government had the right to use Shetland's rich fisheries as a bargaining chip for the UK to enter the EEC. They would like us to believe that the UK government had the right to appropriate the seabed around Shetland to extract the oil. They would like us to believe that the Crown has the right to charge rents for the use of the seabed around Shetland, knowing full well that such legitimate claims never existed. In short, Shetland's true position is an embarrassment to the UK government and Crown, and its true history must be suppressed. By declaring Forwick a Crown dependency, I'm simply re-establishing the correct legal relationship between this part of Shetland and the Crown. By doing so, I will prove that Shetland as a whole can get the same benefits and more, simply by asserting rights that already exist. There will be no income tax, VAT, council tax, corporation tax, or any of the other taxes instituted by the British government. The only tax is a contribution by every citizen towards the cost of running the state, the old Nordic skat. This will initially be set at a level of 1 Forwick gulder per year. That's about £55 sterling at current gold values. Forwick Island will have its own coinage backed by gold, its own stamps, and will register companies in a tax-free environment. Offshore banking and financial services will follow at a later date. Shetland, has a right to all of these opportunities, but currently chooses to follow the unsubstantiated claims of the British government that it is part of Scotland. Fourvik will set down a claim to the sea and seabed, including fishing, oil and other mineral rights, out to a limit of 200 miles, or to the median line between it and other states. Shetland should properly be regarded as a stewartry, answering directly to the Crown. Accordingly, I've written to Her Majesty the Queen offering my services as steward of Fourvik, recognising her as head of state, but recognising only those limited rights and privileges granted to the Crown by the pawning of Shetland in 1469 and subsequently confirmed by the plenipotentiaries of Europe in 1667. I invite anyone in Shetland, or indeed anyone anywhere else, who is interested in this project to apply for citizenship. Many benefits will be available to both individuals and companies, and full details can be found on the Fourvik website, www.fourvik.com, from the 20th of June. Thank you.